my name is Lucas, and you're here with me in my home studio in South Florida. For the past 2 months, I've been working diligently with my professor, Dr. Ndiaye, on the Africanist podcast. Serving as its head editor and audio engineer, it's been my job to bring his creative vision to life. This is a research-based show that dives into themes like Afrofuturism, democracy, and political resistance across the African continent. I'm going to walk you through how I help bring each episode to life.
Ohio from the motherland, shape where you slug a hand. If you got it right, don't address me with your other hand.
From editing raw interviews to composing original music, and what is going to be the start of designing visuals to help advertise these episodes. Initially, the only real goal here was to be able to get my professor some music that he could use without having to worry about copyright issues. However, when he gave me his request for what he wanted in terms of music, I realized that I could take a lot more creative liberty in what I was doing. Now, obviously, I took inspiration from the world music that was already in the Africanist podcast, but myself being a hip-hop producer and working right now with So Def, I think I wanted to see if I could maybe push a boundary. So instead of just making almost one-to-one recreations of what was already there, I infused a little bit of hip-hop styling into it. When it came to the second track, I don't even really have a title for it. It's just called Neptune Style Afrobeat. I guess I just got really caught up in the clips for a rollout, and I wanted to just insert something that very much gave that kind of vibe. I think probably the biggest issue with this one was just trying to get the vocals to sit in the mix. You can hear when I turn the compressor off, there's just this massive difference. When I finally got the settings right, that just put the whole track together really smoothly. Given the fact that this track was based off of the Africanists' original intro, mintro, and outro music, I figure this will probably end up getting used the most. Aside from previous tracks that the Africanists used for transitions, I listened to a lot of different world music to try to get inspiration for this. I think that really comes through in how different these three tracks are. And that's specifically what I was going for when I came up with this final batch. I wanted a good bit of variety. The first episode we did was about African futurism versus Afrofuturism. That was hosted by Bukumfi Bifarin, one of Dr. Ndiaye's graduate students, and she was interviewing Professor Kimberly Cleveland of Georgia State University. Part of why the work I'm doing for Dr. Ndiaye is so important is because we have these very important conversations that we capture, and sometimes they don't come out very well initially. And you can kind of see what I mean by that right here.
Circles, but what we all assumed then was it was just a combination of Africa and futurism, or like futuristic thinking. So it was not until I read your book that I fully understood like the historical significance and how scholars and creatives have differently thought about the use of the term.
Difference is night and day. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of complex stuff that gets talked about in the Africanist, and part of why I've been so passionate about this project is, to me, in academia, there is this issue of not being able to reach the general populace. And so what I find is that more often than not, you are not going to read a research paper. You're going to read a secondhand article, or more than likely listen to a podcast to get information at this sort of scholarly level. So preserving these very nuanced and just very dense conversations is incredibly important. As for graphics that we're set to produce to advertise each episode, right now I'm currently working on something of an overhaul to the whole Africanist design, and so I'm still getting that going along. But the idea would be that it would look something like my work for So Def on our magazine, The Young Perspective. So that's a look into my role behind the scenes of the Africanist. Whether it's shaping the sound of a conversation, scoring the emotion behind the words, or designing the visuals that introduce it to the world, everything I do is about helping the message land. This project isn't just technical, it's about using podcasting as a way to create space for dialogue, for memory, and for voices that deserve to be heard.